Motion carries. Okay, item 3. Thank you, guys. I'll try not to be so aggressive with the gavel this year.
No kicking.
Okay, first item, approval of the agenda.
Move we approve. Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the minutes for the December 2023 special meeting minutes. I'm sure you've all had time to read them. And I will entertain a motion to approve those.
I'll make the motion to approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item 5, accounts payable and payroll through from October 1st through December 31st, and or that's payroll, and then accounts payable from October 1st through October 31st. Those were also in your packet. And with those, I will make a motion to approve.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Informational items. Okay, this is presentation of constituent services for Ben Ray Lujan's office. Constance Williams.
Thank you, Commissioner Dixon and commissioners. My name is Constance Williams, and I am a licensed clinical social worker. I work for Senator Ben Ray Lujan, and I'm in the Portales office. Just wanted to come and talk a little bit about constituent services. I know that we have Commissioner Munoz. Congratulations on your election, and just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about what we do in the office. If you're not aware, we have a Senate office in the Economic Development Center right across the way. And I'm in 7 counties, which include Curry, Roosevelt, Quay, DeBaca, Lee, Eddy, and Chavez. And so I do outreach in all of those counties and basically kind of talk about, like I said, whether or not it's going to be local government, organizations, or individuals who need help on the federal space. If you'll go to the next one. Alrighty, so just a little bit about Senator Lujan. I actually met him whenever I was a graduate student, and I attended a round table on behavioral health at MAT 25. And so that was the first time that I met him, and ultimately came to work for him just a few weeks before the pandemic. He is from Nambe, which is northern New Mexico agricultural community. And a lot of people may not know, but he actually does farming. And I think that that's really important whenever we talk about what are some of the needs within New Mexico. Alrighty, we'll go to the next one. So how can we help? A lot of people, like I said, the whole purpose of this is to let people know the vast ways in which we are able to help, whether or not it's a federal agency, policy, correspondence, grant searches, letters of support, and academy nominations. So casework, as a social worker, I really like working for Senator Lujan because, our goal is to help people. And a lot of offices on the representative side or the Senate side, they have a choice whether or not they do casework or not. And so I was glad to know whenever I came on to the House side right before COVID that he offered casework, but not only that, he had one of the highest caseloads in all of Congress. And so I think that that's just kind of reflective of his goal to help people. I think a lot of times whenever people come to a congressional office, it's because they've tried to go on the basic, at the basic doors, and whether or not they're being opened or not is can be questionable. I always say government's as good as the people behind it. And so it's really important to be able to have government work for the people. And so we're on the federal scope, there's Social Security, Veterans Administration, and Medicare. But also, like I said, we try to help. If it's not specifically federal, we will try to get constituents to the most local office, whether or not it's state or local government, to kind of help address some of those stuff or some of that stuff. We'll go to the next one. Social Security, disability, especially during COVID, there was a lot of people who, interacted with this agency. Sometimes government can be slow. There's bureaucratic stuff. Sometimes it's about the whether or not they have a functioning data system like they need to. And so it was good to be able to help in this space. Whether or not it's going to be at the local office for disability, sometimes when people need to appeal, if they get denied, they have the Social Security disability determination, which is kind of the next level. And so what we do is from a casework side is have people, they make contact with us, and we have to kind of figure out where within that process the case is actually at. So we can go to the next one. The Department of Veterans Affairs, that's another place where, it's both state and local that kind of engage and help provide resources. And so one thing that I think is really important at the very bottom, the PACT Act, we're kind of talking about how an Office of an Inspector General report came out just maybe right before Christmas time. And basically, the PACT Act was passed in August 2022, in which it allowed for the VA to basically, when an individual or a veteran comes and says, "Hey, I have this issue, I have this illness," the PACT Act basically allowed for the VA to say, "Hey, this is a presumed illness that you got in your deployment, wherever it may be," and they basically said, "Hey, there's going to be certain areas or theaters of war in which we agree that your exposure to whatever it may be caused you this illness, and you don't have to necessarily go through all of the hoops to prove that you got it during your service in the military." Well, the Office of the Inspector General report found, like I said, just right before Christmas, that ultimately employees within the VA scope were not necessarily properly trained, and so they were still having to go through to try to prove that they were in this place, that this illness was connected to whatever service the position that they had. And so if you have anybody who, did apply for the PACT Act, or who, still needs to do that stuff, have them reach out to our office, because we want to be able to help advocate for that. A lot of times things kind of, come slower to governmental positions, right? It's not necessarily as soon as a legislation is passed that the people that are in there dealing with people on a day-to-day basis understand or know what legislation and how it's impacted them. So like I said, the PACT Act is super important, because again, it just certain toxins, certain positions that you had in the military, now there's a presumption that if you have an illness, bless you, that you are having it qualified through that ailment, versus having to, like I said, prove it. So one thing that's really great about the Congressional New Mexico delegation is that we do have a grant-specific individual. His name's Greg Canadle. He's actually from Roswell, and he's out of the D.C. office for the senior senator, Senator Heinrich. But basically, again, not all offices choose to do casework. Not all offices choose to help with casework or with grants. But the congressional delegation comes together, has this grants coordinator who essentially allows you through the process. We have you complete this form, and we basically try to find federal grants for organizations, instead of like having, a lot of it's capacity building, and whether or not people know where to look at, whether or not people have the ability to kind of spend, out of the 8 hours of your day, focus on looking through the cumbersomeness of grants. And so we have a grants specific person who will do that for you. And they also do weekly grants advisory. And so those are some of the websites that you can go look. But like I said, I think it's a really good service that you would have that, like I said, not a lot of people know that we do. And so whether or not it's letters of support on the federal scope, like if you're going for a federal grant, our office will work on getting that for you. And it's just a matter of completing some paperwork, really is 1-page form. And I always try to say, if you're looking at multiple projects that you're trying to lift off the ground, if you'll bullet that out, that kind of helps the grants coordinator be able to look more specific in the things that you're looking for. We'll go to the next one. So when we're doing casework specifically, not for the grants or the letters of support, we need a privacy release, which basically says, hey, I want your office to help me on this. A lot of times people, like I said, might not understand why we need that, but essentially it provides our office the permission from the individual to work on their case. Sometimes I'll receive kind of incomplete where they didn't put their social or they didn't put their date of birth. And sometimes, like, depending upon the agency, we don't need that fully. But when you're talking about the federal space, there's so much out there that really it's hard to hone down, especially like in immigration or IRS and stuff of that nature. So like we need the privacy release that says, hey, I want Senator Lujan's office to work on this on my behalf. This is my information. And then a letter describing the concern. It's super important for us to have that because we don't want to do, less than what you're asking. We don't want to do more. I remember whenever I first came on, and I was actually doing my interview with my Jessica, she basically said, hey, what are, when somebody comes to you, what do you want to do for them? I said, I want to meet them where they are. Basically, there was one case where it was a military case. And I think that they were able to get this lady like $100,000 for some of the stuff that had happened with her husband who had passed away. But she and her primary concern was to essentially correct the paperwork on his I guess he maybe had been dishonorably discharged or something of that nature. And she wanted the record to reflect correctly. And so, the one thing is like, and so you want to make sure that you're doing what people want, not doing more than, less than. And sometimes I always say that the letter can be an obstacle. Whether or not people have the ability to write is still an issue within, the United States and New Mexico. Whether or not somebody has, like I said, what I try to do is go with, if they're themselves are not able to do a letter because they're not able to write, illiterate or whatnot, then I try to get with, a local pastor or something of that nature who they have a relationship with, somebody, a family member, something of that nature, because we can only do that if we got that directive from the constituent. And so I think that's super important. You don't want government all in your business. This is what we need. This is what we want you to help us with. And there it is. With the IRS specifically, which we do a lot of engagement on, because the IRS has really one of the most antiquated data systems. Some of their stuff is from the 60s and the 70s. And so when you're talking about trying to make sure that information is efficient, that's one of the agencies that definitely needs some help. But they say, hey, we only can do it. Like somebody maybe general, please help me with my taxes. Well, we'll have to come back and say, hey, well, we need to know what year, because they can only go back so far and things of that nature as well. But we just need that kind of framework in which to try to help people. What we don't do is we can't be involved in legal matters. Part of that is it's twofold. The judicial system is the judicial system, but there's a separation of the powers. And so we're a legislative body and we're not able to intervene in legal issues. A lot of times people will call and say, hey, this is happening. We need you to do an investigation. And I'm like, we don't do investigations. That's not part of our body in the legislative world. If you do have these concerns, then you would do a letter and a release, and then we would make contact with whether or not it's going to be a local governmental body, the New Mexico Attorney General's office, the Department of Justice, where we say, hey, we got this concern from a constituent, and so we send that in. But a lot of times people want us to do things that we really just cannot do. We go to the next one. Again, the Privacy Act, why those releases are needed in regards to like Medicare, Medicaid. There's times where we will need a HIPAA release in order to get the outcome, I guess you would say, on it. There's a lot of times where we can just, like I said, it's called buck, and we'll send it to the next agency that needs to deal with it, medical issues. But in order for us to get a response back or, get a formal response back, we need maybe a HIPAA release depending upon on medical issues. Another thing, power of attorney guardianship. I've used this, I know I presented at the city of Portales, but basically I had a case where an individual called and said, hey, I know a veteran who's in this place. They're not capable of handling their finances, and they're sending their money to so-and-so in another place, and they're basically taking advantage of this individual. And so just from that basic conversation, I was like, we would not be able to contact that veteran per se and say, hey, we need you to fill out a release of information so that we can work on your case for you, because the people that are contacting contacting us or saying, hey, this person doesn't have the capacity to kind of make decisions on their own. And so it would be unethical for us to go and say, hey, fill this out so we can try to work on this for you. So what we did in that particular case is reached out to the VA, said, hey, we've gotten this contact on this. Can you follow up? And then they have their ombudsman, they have their processes in which they are able to do that because they deal with benefits and stuff within that agency. We'll go to the next one. So casework outcomes. I'm really happy that 2 of these are mine. We have these were more during the pandemic time, but I always try to say that, you know, we're a public office, and I think that a lot of times people think that there is help more so for Democrats or help for Republicans and things of that nature. And really, like I said, it's partisanship is not a place in which we reside at. As an official office, like I said, we try to help people regardless of political affiliation. Even if you don't vote, we're going to be trying to help you make sure that the things are done. And like I said, government's as good as as good as the engagement that you have, as good as the people behind it. And so one of this was a disability, and you know, it took a long time, especially during the pandemic, where a lot of these agencies were learning how to telework. I know that the IRS, even during the beginning of COVID, when I first started, they were still doing faxes. Like, you couldn't email them a release or email them about certain things. And so we just, right before Christmas too, got the permission with the IRS and taxpayer advocates specifically to now email them on there, because their systems are now, what is that? Cyberproof, I guess, is the best way to say it. But, the IRS, again, issue resolved in 2 months. Like I said, sometimes you're calling these numbers and you may or may not get somebody. It's kind of the roll of the dice sometimes, and it really shouldn't be that way. But that's where, legislation to change things and try to get things updated is really important. So we'll go to the next one. So congressionally directed spending with the new administration, I don't know whether or not this is going to go forward or not. I want to say that during the last year, the committees went ahead and they had allocated a lot of stuff, but towards the end of the year of that Congress, it was not, they did not come to an agreement on these things. So congressionally directed spending is like, there's 2 ways, in which the federal government funds, whether or not it's going to be the grant process or congressionally directed spending, which is the appropriations process. And similar to like on state level government, certain or senators or representatives get a certain amount allocated to kind of help their districts out with different projects that are happening. The congressionally directed spending route is one of those pathways. There was quite a bit that kind of helped over the last few years, but again, I don't know whether or not that's going to be. We're going to act and move as if it will be. So the goal is to, in late February, March, start reaching out to local governments, organizations about the projects that they're trying to lift out. It's only for nonprofits and governmental entities. It's not for any for-profit entities. But basically, like I said, what they do is say, hey, this is the project that we're looking at trying to do, and it may fall within the scope of the 12 committees or specific agencies that have accounts that are that they're trying to lift off and do certain projects in those spaces. And so, like, I know that there's been some requests for like similar to like Match 25, where you have nonprofit entities in one localized location so that people don't have to kind of go all over town to try to get resources taken care of. They're able to do stuff like that locally. A lot of times road projects, water infrastructure, things of that nature, where like I said, you don't necessarily have to go through the grants process, which can be burdensome and cumbersome, but they basically get it appropriated on one end and then fill out the application for it, but then don't have to go through the competitive process necessarily on that. So like I said, I'll reach out. We'll find out what's going on with the new administration. And like I said, hopefully it'll be there. And if not, like I said, the grants are still the option for federal spending. You can stay in touch. We're in all the different social media spheres, I guess you would say. The website, you can go on there, you can look at congressionally directed spending projects that the senator had supported and has supported to kind of see kind of things that you might want to do as your own organization. That's also a place where you can go and make requests to meet with the senator specifically, but also, like I said, you can call me up and say, hey, and what we try to do is streamline that through there because there are so many requests from across the state at different times. One thing that I will say is that we got the Senate calendar not too long ago, about the last month, and the Senate is going to be in session pretty much besides August recess where, it's traditionally that representatives go back to their home districts. Besides a matter of probably 3 weeks, the Senate's going to be in session working, moving forward on a lot of different stuff. And so I was going to say that just last week, the senator, he was in different committees, which was one of them was Ag Committee, and that's responsible for the Farm Bill. I actually had a couple of meetings up here with regards to Farm Bill and trying to get that lifted off. That's something that we hope is able to get completed this year. But he is on a few different committees that I think are really important. The Finance Committee, which is major whenever you're talking about taxes, talking about Medicare, anything that really does with the government budget. He's also on the Budget Committee. He's still on the Ag Committee. And again, that's super important when we're talking about New Mexico and farming communities. He's on the Commerce, Science, and Transportation Committee, going to deal with roads, broadband, internet, things of that nature, and then Indian Affairs. And so those are the 5 committees that he's on right now. For this congressional session, which is going to be the 120th Congress. So looking forward to kind of seeing where that goes and the different spaces. If there's something that you are interested in, please reach out to me. Like I said, I'm in 7 counties, but definitely want to help, whether or not it's learning about certain processes, whether or not it's trying to get certain things taken care of. And so I think the next one. Oh, yeah. So the only office that's not on here listed, and I need to update this, is the Albuquerque office. Senate offices take a long time to come on deck. And so the Portales office was actually Senator Udall's office. And we were one of the first original offices to kind of get online. Albuquerque is now there, and they're trying to get a Farmington office. It usually takes at least a year to get an office online in the Senate space. And so we have one in Portales, so come visit me. To the next one. So down at the bottom is my cell phone number. I've given all the commissioners my cell phone number. Like I said, if anything you need, got questions, I will do my best to get those answered in a timely basis. And you can reach me out at my email. And like I said, come visit me at the office right around the corner. Thank you. And I stand for any questions if anybody has any. Thank you.
Thank you. I have one question. Did we run our ICIP through Mr. Lujan's office?
So y'all can send it to me, and we can also one of the things that I did, and I did it more with the city of Portales whenever Sarah Austin, the former city manager, was here. But basically what she had did was she had a department presentation, and I had an intern from Eastern in their social work program there. And what we had did was kind of go to each of those departments and they did a presentation about what they needed. And we basically did a needs assessment, which from what they told us, we're like, okay, this is something in the federal space. There might be some grants here and there and there. And so I had provided her a rundown of the areas that I thought that would be really good. And me and Mrs. Kirk actually talked at the very end of last month. And I told her, hey, what I'm going to do is go back. I'm pretty sure that some of those needs are still similar. And even though it's county and city, they all kind of integrate in many ways. And so I was planning to kind of go through with the new outreach for this year and kind of see in the federal space what might be available in that. And she did provide me the ICIP. And so I'm going to use that as a cross-reference. Like I said, there's going to be some stuff that comes federal spending directly to the state, and then the state has to kind of allocate out to local government. But then there may be some space in which the local government can directly utilize through in the federal space. And then a lot of times there's partnerships, like whether or not it's going to be something that kind of uplifts through maybe Eastern or, partnerships through the city and the county dually. And so that's part of what my outreach is going to be, and part of what my goals are within Roosevelt County and city of Portales specifically.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else? Thank you, Constance. Okay, moving on to discussion on usage of Roosevelt County Fairgrounds. Commissioner Parker, Cam Knight, and Amber Workshire? Workheiser.
So I know it's a little early, but my list is going to be long, so I'm trying to break it up by meeting, so we're not here till midnight tonight. But I wanted to start some discussion on some usage of the fairgrounds and how we can utilize it more often, maybe bring in a little bit more money to our area, because we're having larger events here. And I've invited Cam Knight and Miss Amber Workheiser here today to, I believe they've promoted these kind of things before, and I just wanted to kind of get some general discussion started about it. If y'all would, please.
Hi, I'm Cam Knight. I asked Amber to come with me. She does produce a lot of events. I train a lot of horses, so I'm concerned about the safety of the horses, the kids, things like that. This is a beautiful facility that's sitting there empty, not making any money. It's already losing money every day, so we might as well utilize it. A couple of things would need to happen, and Amber can emphasize more on a producer of why people don't come in and use this facility. And 99% of it is the ground. Do you need to pull out all the ground and start over? No, but we need to invest in a new drag. The drag that's out there on that tractor won't even go deep enough to scratch the hard pan. So horses slip, fall, kids get hurt, people get hurt, everything like that. You need to invest in a better drag that can deep rip that arena, and then during events be able to scratch that hard pan so horses have something to get a hold of. So, and then Amber can emphasize more on a producer's level of what they're looking at.
Morning, commissioners. Thanks for having us. When I have produced, in fact, we did a couple of years ago also as well at your outdoor arena, which people rave about your outdoor arena. When that is worked well and watered well, we get a great turnout. When it's not watered, we don't get a turnout.
Yep.
That arena holds water like crazy. The more water on it, the better it is. The indoor arena, I have produced there as well. And if you do a 2-day production, the second day, people are pulling out, wanting their money back because the ground doesn't hold. Well, all that does is hurt me as a producer. I can't pay you guys, and because I have no money coming in. The drag is the biggest problem. You got to get that hard pan scratched, and the piece. I don't know if it's just also not the tractor. I'm not too sure how big your tractor is anymore. It's been a couple of years since I put one on here, but the tractor wasn't strong enough to even set it down into the ground deep enough either. We have brought in our own equipment to work it, and that has helped a little bit, but that's also a huge expense for us as a producer to bring in. When I do produce them, I like to also run in it myself. And so that's kind of time consuming to have to bring in multiple vehicles to bring equipment in, and then also equipment to haul my own horses. I do believe that your all's rate is extremely great. I think you should go up on it. Curry County has outpriced themselves. You have got producers that are looking at your guys' places. I had NMRA, New Mexico Rodeo Association, ask if they're wanting people's input. I told them Portales is great as long as you can get the ground worked. I was reached by Little Britches Rodeo Association last year to help put on a chapter in this area for them because we do not have one in New Mexico. And I believe the way of rodeo is going to the wayside, and it should be coming back up. It's great for kids. It's great for families. And if we have good places to do this, people will come. They will definitely come.
On that note as well, though, I'm on the board of High Plains. We are always looking for more arenas. You know, when we finally find a date where we're not overlapping high school, junior high, Texas, New Mexico, whatever, then it's extremely hard to find an arena that can house everybody. And I know there's new stalls out there, which helps. I think, Yeah, I think a bigger tractor would have to be done. Like she said, if everybody comes in and does that. The other thing that might be looked at is adding bucking chutes. Some of your bigger associations like High Plains, does Little Britches buck?
Little Britches bucks.
Little Britches, High Plains doesn't buck, Little Wranglers doesn't buck, so you don't have to have bucking chutes, so aren't as big of a deal. A lot of your barrel racing producers, team roping producers, they'll come in if the ground is good. If you want some of the bigger associations, NMRA, Little Britches, things like that, you'd have to add bucking chutes.
But at least with your little britches, you've got the bucking chutes at your outdoor. That can be utilized there. I do note also that there are some other, not just necessarily New Mexico, but Texas, when they have a lot of indoor arenas that is just an arena where they have just the roping chutes and then just the arena, no bucking chutes, they actually have purchased mobile bucking chutes to where they just bring in one bucking chute, pull it into the indoor arena. I don't know what those run or anything, but that's just a suggestion for you guys to think about as well. And maybe even to bring some more money in. We used to do open ride nights. That brings in, some good money for you guys. People want a place to go and ride at night, especially during the winter. Get out of this wind and the cold. And it's not that the ground would have to be optimal. They're just in there to use it, to work their animals. They're not making any runs, running any cattle or anything like that. But that, I would really like to see you guys do some open ride nights. Once every, like at least twice a month would be great. That would be really good.
And if there's concern about the producers themselves driving a county tractor or anything like that, producers will pay for the tractor driver if the county provides it, as long as it's a reasonable rate. A lot of producers pay each arena for their own tractor drivers.
Madam Chair, Commission, I'm just curious, do we have a tractor bigger or I guess I'm not sure what the county owns as far as equipment goes. I know that Juan's got one that's hooked up to a shredder out at the county road barn. I would think that one would be big enough and I don't know what y'all's thoughts on the ground is, or I'm not a dirt worker, so how hard would it be to get that ground correct for them to use?
I wouldn't think it'd be hard at all with the right, just like you say, the right drag.
Mhm.
I think, even if you had to bring in like, maybe a little chisel plow there at first,
I think you have to have a little chisel.
the little chisel plow.
So that's what we did at my personal arena. Did the same thing. I had a clay hard pan causing horses to slip. I had a ground specialist come in, look at it. We had to dig up that clay and mix it with that sand. And so we just did a chisel drag. And it dug it up and it got it deep. Deep is better than slick. Neither is ideal, but then you can kind of repack it. And if you have a good drag, say like a Black Widow or something like that, where you can set your teeth, you can set your roller, you can keep that ground scratched. So those horses, it'll hold the horses.
Juan, how often do you use that tractor out there, with the shredder tractor?
Shredder just really in the summertime, but we do go in the arena and take the blade with the rippers and rip it up, and then they'll use the little tractor. But yeah, that tractor's too small. That little drag just barely gets in there about that far.
You're saying the shredder tractor's too small or the one that's in the arena?
There, yeah. So we'll go in and rip it, and then they'll work it with the little tractor.
So is that something that the county could utilize?
I would think, have you been out there after they've ripped the arena and then went in there and worked
Yeah,
it?
they had a barrel race there right after it was ripped, and it was great. It was great ground. It was deep, but it was great. Like you said, the problem is they rip it, and then that little drag out there won't even go deep enough, so it just repacks it without scratching it, and so it just gets that hard pan back.
Mm-hmm.
But the one time I went out there after they had deep ripped it at that race, it was great.
But I would think we could utilize both tractors out there, and especially if we just change out the little drag. There used to be, wasn't there 2 drags out there at one time?
There's another one at the old arena, but I don't think that'll get it either.
Still
Got
want
to
to
have
get
one
it.
with the rippers in the front, and then they got the
Have the little chisel deal in the front,
Mhm.
and then
In a roller.
the roller in the
Yeah.
back
Mhm.
behind it there.
Right.
break it up.
Does it ridge when you do?
Well, that's
What-
why,
what's
like I said,
the-
I recommended a Black Widow because it levels as you drag. So it's going to rip, and then the roller, and it's designed to level as you drag, so there's no.
Drag. They don't leave the ridges.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, like that's the one we have, Roy Lee, if you ever want to come look at it, but
she has a personal one. We have a personal one for our personal arena as well. Not that we're spokespeople for Black Widow, but they
No,
are a
not at
great
all.
product. It is a great product. And another item I'd like to put out there too on your to-do list, a speaker for the outside arena.
yes.
Can't hear anything at that outdoor arena. People will be down at the what is it, the north end of that arena, trying, to come in listening for name calls. You can't hear a thing.
So on that, that's actually already been addressed. They've already ran new speaker wire and all of that's been fixed.
Oh, good.
So the only thing that seems to be the issue is, and Gary and I had a visit yesterday about it, is there's one microphone out in the in the crow's nest that may have a loose wire, and we've talked about replacing that one microphone, but that should be the only issue that we have out there.
So,
I have a question for you.
sorry, go ahead.
So you're talking about the tractors and the rippers and all of that. But so no matter what we do, even if we was to buy the new one, the tractor is still too small for that.
Unless, like he said, yeah, the tractor that's in there is too small.
Okay.
But if the county has bigger ones that can be used, they would bring their own when they would come so they could get it down. But it's hard when you're trying to haul your horses and a tractor.
Okay.
So, sure. What horse is that Kubota?
I think it's 30 or 40 maybe.
Let's say I can help pull it. So
Really?
It's a little one. When you put the forks on it, pick up a heavy pellet, it'll tilt forward.
Tilt forward.
Yeah, that's how small it is.
They're just little garden tractors.
we used to try to put like water tanks on the back of it and stuff, but that's still, then the tractor couldn't pull it. So
Mhm.
And then my next question is, say we did buy a set of 3 bucking chutes to put back there. Is there room enough to put a set of bucking chutes back there on that east side and
yes,
with and still have a return alley, or
Well, they're definitely movable. Curry County does the same thing. They move theirs out, move them in and out every time.
yeah, but
but during a rodeo, I believe there's room. We've had
Oh,
barrel
is that what
races
you
where
mean?
we've set up catch
Yeah.
pins.
Oh,
even
yeah.
and still been able to make good runs, and there's plenty of room.
Absolutely.
plenty of room back
Oh,
there
yes.
for the catch pins.
Yeah,
plus in the
length is
return
not an
alley.
issue.
Right.
If
It's
you're
not the
going
length.
width, you would be in trouble, but the length is not an issue. You could go with
Right.
Right.
the non-bucking chute in the east end. Yeah.
Yeah, I was worried about the width, if there'd still be enough room and everything,
Well, you wouldn't
Well-
take it out of the width of it, but the length, if you put it at the back
at the
end.
back end.
Yeah.
Just have to
If you
put it
did-
at the back, you like to say the north end there,
Well, if-
Where,
or
where
would you put it on the south end where
at the strip and shoot down there.
Well, if you did it width-wise, you could always set back where your warm-up area is, though, too. That gives
Yeah.
you plenty of room
Yeah,
there as well.
Well, you've got the beams.
Yeah, but you set between the beams. You can, that could
Yeah, you could set
logistically
your
be
bucking chutes kind
between
of
the
between the
beams.
beams back there. Or even if you wanted on the rope and shoot side, put it right up front by the rope and shoots, kind of under the announcer stand right there, because that's really not an issue of where you compete.
All right, my next
You
question,
just moving the cattle.
Yeah.
do you think that Roosevelt County and Curry County work out a lease agreement, like for a set of bucking shoot, instead of us having to buy a set? Would it be feasible, or would they or I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know they kind of remove theirs or every now and then, but they don't. They
Correct.
kind of leave them there all the time, though, too, right?
Right.
So I didn't know. All right.
I don't know, but I know that producers we're fed up with their prices for sure, and I feel you guys are underpriced.
That outside arena, what would it take to get it?
Water,
Yep.
Just water and
Yep.
just water.
you can't put enough on it.
Yeah, it's usually too dry is the only reason people shy away from it, but it holds good.
Yeah.
It does great that way.
there's a set of bucket
Water.
sheets over there. In the old place.
And a lot of producers will rent both arenas. do, rough stock, some timed events outside, roping, some timed events inside, and run both. If you ever got New Mexico High School Rodeo, Junior High Rodeo, they do a lot of 2 arena facilities. As long as there's enough stalls. So,
Mhm. Yeah, you guys have a beautiful facility, both.
mhm.
Nice grounds, very nice
And you
grounds.
spent the money to put the fans in, and it's cooled. I don't know if it's heated. Is it heated?
Mhm.
It's heated. So, yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
It's just sad it's sitting there and losing money.
Yeah, please think about some ride nights. A couple nights out of the month would be great.
And so, how much is one of them drags?
Ours was about 6,500.
65, 75. Mhm.
How often do we use those facilities?
We actually use them quite a bit, a lot more than what people actually notice. I can get a report put together for y'all for the next meeting, so y'all can see exactly how much each facility is being used between of course, we all know that the Jake Lopez building's almost rented out every weekend. So, but as far as the arenas and whatnot, I think it's being rented out more than people realize, but we can get those put together for what was used this last year.
Okay, and all of our prices and things?
Yes, as a matter of fact, our prices are going to be on this. We have a resolution for that.
Right,
Yes.
yeah, it's in here.
So
Okay.
When you say it's been being rented out more than, I'm just curious, are we having big events at those?
I don't know what you would consider big events. I mean, as far as a day or two, maybe. I know, like, we've got the dog agility. They come out 3 times a year, and they're a 3-day weekend. But with that also means they have to pack the arena. We have Peanut Festival. We have, and that takes a week to pretty much almost prepare. With some of the other, I know there's been several different items that they've been using that out there for. One of Dennis's deal was we've been trying to bring it out to the fairgrounds was Heritage Days. So depending on how that works, and then of course preparing the arena for the inside, outside, Extension uses it as well. I know just recently they had that the Jingle Bell Classic.
Mhm.
They do the sales out there too, right?
Little
Go ahead.
I know that,
Wranglers.
like you say that, we was out there for that steer jackpot, and it just wasn't very long ago, right before Christmas. That old ground's so packed, and it's unlevel when it's packed down. Crap, I couldn't walk for 2 days, and all I do is just doing work in the ring, helping with the ring, and I couldn't walk for 2 days after that,
Well,
just
like
because it's got those ridges.
Mhm.
When it's packed, it's got those ridges.
Well, and like Annette said, they're having a lot of events out there that are non-speed
Yeah,
events where packing is actually necessary for a lot of the sales and
and that just
peanut
makes it
festival and
worse.
things like that.
It does.
That's
Yep.
where you need the deep rip.
Yeah, it does. And maybe even a couple loads of sand, especially for your indoor. That will help also.
Mixing with that red dirt.
Mixing in with that red dirt, absolutely.
So, if you don't mind, the sand, like river,
Yes,
like
sir.
your river sand.
Yes.
We just redid both of my indoor and my outdoor, and it's kind of a river sand.
That's that river sand.
Yeah.
All right.
Not blow sand.
No,
Right.
yeah, don't go get it off the road.
Yeah. We don't want the blow sand in there.
Darn it, 'cause-
Have an abundance of
It's
it.
much
Yeah,
cheaper,
one
yes.
One last thing that I have is, what's the liability for, they say that their producers, they're willing to hire somebody a tractor driver. What's the liability for that?
Well, and my understanding is they have done that in the past. It's finding somebody who's willing to spend that time to do it. And one of the biggest things that actually happens is that, again, being part of the barrel racer world and whatnot, is the tractor driver gets a lot of grief from the barrel racers. And so if we can just make sure that that doesn't happen, and just so that way those people can do that job. I actually had an idea. I was thinking about this the other day, and I had asked Gary about it as well. Thought maybe if one of the road crew guys, because they work 410s, if they'd be interested in helping on their days off, because generally a 3-day would be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, depending on what those pay. if they'd be willing to put in some time. But we just have to visit with the guys and see what kind of people, what kind of people we'd have interested in running the tractor for us.
Because we would have them already on our insurance and everything, correct?
The
Correct.
liability is less when we use a
Mhm.
road department employee.
And that's why I was thinking maybe if we had somebody that's already familiar with the equipment and they could make some extra money on the side, it would be maybe a win-win for both. But I don't know. It's just an idea.
They also tend to make the ground better because they're familiar with the tractor and the settings and things like that.
And I get what you're saying. I think that's a great idea, but what if they're not available? I would hate to lose an event because we didn't have a road person available. If that was the case,
Well,
I'm
we've
just
had-
wondering what would be the liability of letting them rent that out?
Well, they've actually used out in the outdoor arena. They've used that wonderful blue tractor in the past that has not been driven by a county employee.
Mhm.
So, again, I think after really our biggest discussion is we need to fulfill our equipment needs before we can actually get further into the liability side of that. I think we're just too far from the table at this point to really discuss. We've got a few guys. I don't know. We really need to reach out first and see who we would have available, who would be willing to be interested to do this first before we reach out to see what else we can do. But that's just my opinion.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to beat this up, but I just want to be clear. Is that tractor available to be used? And if it is, would that not fulfill our equipment need?
Unless it's out in the, somewhere parked shredding, that one, and we got two bigger ones also, but they're usually out on the road projects. If it's there at the yard, we could use it, but if it's out in Rogers, shredding over there, then we'd have to plan on bringing it in or doing something.
Is that not something that you think is feasible?
Well, I think it depends on time of year.
Right. Sure.
How far out do y'all schedule these bigger events? How far out would you schedule them to
1
where
year.
we could work around? We
Like,
could work around and have a tractor available.
like High Plains, we've already scheduled for 26,
Yeah.
2026.
Producers are
With
usually
arenas.
always 1 year out.
Okay, so if we know we got a weekend of a bigger event to where we could work around and make this work with having a tractor there, we know we got that event a year ahead of advance, and so we can plan to have a tractor there. We know that event's coming. We could do our way. We just not shred that weekend. That week we just make sure we have a tractor up here because we know in advance. I think we could make.
I agree.
I think we could work around and make some stuff work. Especially if they're. I can see calling up here 2 weeks in advance or a week in advance. Hey, I want to use this arena. We're gonna put on a deal right quick. Now I can see something like that. Like, hey, that could be pretty iffy on the equipment side. But I think if we know in advance, I think we can work with it. We can work with this.
Good.
That's just my thoughts.
I think every once in a while you get a producer that randomly says, "Hey, let's put one on real quick."
Yeah.
But if it works, it works. If great,
Right.
if not, it doesn't. But
Right.
most of them schedule out.
I know, there's been some of those, I think Daniel Matano, that, back call in, hey, I want to
Have
see
it,
if we
yeah.
can't have it right quick and do a quick deal, something like that. But that's different from being on something like y'all's deal,
Like team ropers.
Right.
We're on that side too. It
Like I say,
doesn't
it's a lot
require
different.
near as much.
Right. It's a lot
groundwork
different.
is-
Yeah. So, but no, I kind of think if we do some planning, I think we can work around. We should.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
having to speak to Commissioner Parker's issue, to have our people operate the tractor is no problem. All we have to do is pay them time and a half if their time goes over 40 hours in any given work period. They're covered by our insurance, they're covered by the Tort Claims Act. Having somebody else operate our vehicle does create some additional problems that we're going to have to work through. Number one, making sure that they're adequately trained. that they know that equipment, that they know how to operate it. And secondly, of course, is the insurance factor. We've got somebody else operating our equipment, for which we would ordinarily be liable. We may need to get some sort of additional insurance from the producers, and that's going to be an added cost for you. So,
Mhm.
The ideal situation would be to have our people do it if we can spare the people and the time. But the other issues we'd have to work out before we went too far down this road.
On, go ahead.
That's where, if it's booked a year in advance, then we can, hey, we got this spot open. Who wants, from the road department, is there anybody willing to have this weekend here? I think we can. I think we'll have some tough. I think there'll be a guy or two, that want to do something like that. The moonlight on the sideline,
I could be wrong, but there should be something already in place for non-employees because they drive the tractors all the time in there.
Yeah.
So there should be already something in place for that.
That's what I was wondering, if like a waiver or a contract with a waiver in it for
I'm not sure
usage
that
and or
they're-
damages.
They're already doing it, so it should.
I
be
don't
in
know
place.
that they're driving our tractors.
Well, they have been at the outdoor one.
Yeah, and the indoor. They drive that Kubota all
The
time.
yellow, the Kubota.
Mhm.
So that would be the only one, because that's the only one that we have the.
The other ones that they had out there before,
Right.
the,
we shouldn't have
like
said
Little
all them.
Wranglers and them, they bring their own.
Right, that one
They
belongs
bring
to
their,
you.
yeah, the Peanut Hampton Farms, yes, they bring that one out here. So Hampton Farms has the liability on that. But Randall, my question was going to be for you on that, where you stated that they would have to get, we would have to pay them time and a half. If they're moonlighting and it's separate from their regular job and it's not something that they're required to do, and it's just something if they want to do it, do you still pay them time and a half, or could it
the
just be
nature of the
like a
work is similar to what they do. They're an equipment operator for the county, so the working on this thing is kind of almost an extension of their job, even though it's on their
Right.
own time and
Sublet it out.
by their request. But it's because it's such similar. I mean, the Fair Labor Standards Act usually is going to.
But if
side
they
on
were
that.
paying it, because like she said, that they
We
would
won't
be
pay
happy
them
to
either
pay,
way.
that they would be happy to pay for the tractor driver. Was that correct?
Right.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
would-
Then if it was working that way, would it still be time and a half if they're doing it? Because somebody else is paying,
No.
not the county's
Should be
paying.
subcontracted
Right.
out.
If that happened, they wouldn't be an employee of the county.
They're
Right.
not going to be an employee of the county then.
And then
Yeah,
therefore the
exactly.
producer could just drive
And
it.
would have the benefits of the Tort Claims Act, not going to have the
Okay.
benefits of our insurance.
Right.
Okay.
So I mean, we need to have them be our employees acting in the course and scope of their duties as our employees
Okay, I
to,
got-
to avail of those benefits and protections.
that's what I wanted to make sure. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I appreciate y'all very much for showing up.
Thank you, guys.
Yep, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do agree. We need to put on some bigger events to help the
And I'd like to see
lodgers,
that
the lodgers
happen.
and everything,
Mhm.
help lodgers and everything.
I'd like to see that go somewhere. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Public requests. Anybody that has anything to comment, if you'll go to the microphone and state your name, you have 3 minutes. And please, when the timer goes off at 3 minutes, we ask that you please stop because we have a full agenda and it's just out of respect for everyone else as well.
Okay, you guys know how I am, so at 3 minutes, just cut me off. I'm not gonna be offended. Just kick me on out of here. What I'm here today is I want to talk about the territory of Chisholm and the process of reverting to territorial status for 12 individual
Will you
counties.
state your name first, please?
Ma'am?
Will you put your
Oh, my
first?
name is Larry Marker.
Thank you.
I'm from down in Roswell, down in Chaves County, and I'm here to talk about reversion to territorial status for 12 contiguous counties in southeastern New Mexico. Basically, what I'm looking at doing, or what I'm trying to do, is move forward with our effort to separate from the jurisdiction of the state of New Mexico, petition the federal government for a designation as an incorporated United States territory for eventual statehood. Multiple reasons for this. This actually isn't just a new project. I've been researching this particular remedy for the last 3 years, but this entire project has been 8 years in the making with some of the stuff that's happened in our judicial system. Then we went into COVID, various different projects that we've had across the state of New Mexico. Violations of the guarantee clause, the state of New Mexico violating the guarantee clause, which will guarantee a Republican form of government. We could get into all of that political matter. You guys have an email. I don't know if I got you the email to the two new guys. But what I do is I put together a pretty good presentation. It's an abridged version of this. What I'd like to do is you guys individually check it out, get a copy to your lawyer, and over the next month or so, or the next month before the next meeting, because I have asked to be on the agenda. If you guys have any questions, I always enjoy a spirited debate. That's no problem. I actually do enjoy those. This is a legitimate process. We're not going to be asking the state of New Mexico if we can leave. We're going to be going to the United States Congress, directly to the House of Representatives, in particularly the House Committee on Natural Resources. That's who's in charge of territorial issues. Like I said, this is a legitimate process. It is going to be a battle. This is not judiciable in a court of law, not in the state courts or in the federal courts, because this is a matter under the doctrine of a political question. The problem we've had in the state of New Mexico, obviously, when we talk about the latest referendum project, the various violations of the election code, the citizens petition for grand jury, I could go on for probably 30 to 45 minutes on the various different cases that were dismissed under the guise of a 12B6 for lack of standing or whatever. But basically what the state of New Mexico has done with their preventing us from a remedy in state courts has made this a political matter. We're going to be taking this to the federal government. We're going to be taking this particularly to U.S. Congress. We won't be under the authority of any type of a bureaucracy. We're going to be under the authority of the House of Representatives, and that's where this project is going to initiate. I've got support from several state senators, local state senators. It's a long, complicated process. Hopefully, we're going to get it done within 2 years. 3 minutes is up. I need you two new guys. I need your email addresses, and I'd appreciate if somebody would share this information with your lawyer. Have him call me with any questions, and we can go further.
Does anyone else? Thank you. Does anyone else have anything?
Alan Carter, Roosevelt County. I'd like to follow up on the discussion out at the fairgrounds. It's my understanding you don't have a ripper. I've got a ripper that the county can borrow. That wouldn't be an issue until the county sees fit and buying a piece of equipment or whatever they need to do that. One of the questions that I had that was not brought up, I think this would be a great revenue for the city of Portales and the county. But the other thing that I wanted to bring up while listening to this would be, do we have RV hookups at the fairground, and are they
We do.
adequate? Do we have enough? Okay, that's good. So that if we do have some of these great big events, to come in, that would be awesome. The other thing I want to do is I want to congratulate all of you. I know y'all have worked hard, our two commissioners and your chair again and vice chair, and thanks for being here. But I want to also invite, I've reached out to most of you to invite y'all to the legislators. We're going to take a group up there to Santa Fe. Don't know how many yet. We're going to help. I'm going to get with Annette. I need to get with you to see what exactly you guys are going to be asking for of our legislatures, our grants, whatever funding that we need, because I think it's time for y'all not only to have to bear the burden. I think the citizens of Roosevelt County need to step up and go to Santa Fe and knock doors and help bring our revenue, our money, our tax dollars back to the county. So congratulations on a new beginning, on a new year, and good luck this upcoming year. Thank y'all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Nothing? Really? Okay. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Elected officials. Treasurer, but she said she has nothing today. So assessor, Mr. Floyd. I told you it was cold in here.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, let's start out. This is for the new commissioners or people that don't know. The assessors have a 1% fund that is not in the general budget. It is our 499 account. Per statute, this money can only be spent on reappraisal related items.
Wait,
Every-
hang on just a second. Are you doing your report or this is just for your report? You're later on the
Yes.
agenda for your other. This is going to be just your report?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. Sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
that's fine. Did everybody see that handout? Okay. So per statute, this money can only be spent on a reappraisal related items. Every year around budget time in April, the assessor's office presents a report to the commissioners of how we are going to spend this 1% fund. Per statute, the commissioners get to determine if the assessors are spending our 1% monies in an efficient way. Okay. That being said, in April of 2024, we had a key employee resign. She had 12 years of experience in the assessor's office. We had to learn her position and spread the tasks that she was doing to the other staff. This took away from our reappraisal cycle and set us back a little bit. We hired a new appraiser, and it takes about 2 years of experience before they can go out and work on their own. During our annual evaluation from PTD, they recommended us getting additional staff. And since we have the money in our 499 account, the handout I gave, this overtime reappraisal option seemed like a plausible solution. And my staff is willing to put in some overtime. As the assessor, I would be able to monitor and track their progress. So if it wasn't going right, I could shut it down. I'm requesting permission from the Board of Commissioners to move $19,000 from our reappraisal fund and put it to use in this overtime reappraisal solution. And I don't know if we need a resolution or what.
So I think before we can do this, we'll probably, it's open for discussion, but I think we probably have to have a resolution in place if that's what y'all want to do. We do have to have a bar adjustment, so it would therefore require that resolution as well.
And if you have any questions about this, I can try to answer those.
Okay. I thought there was a separate agenda item for that.
I did
Sorry.
too.
I was-
I
was-
didn't get it on there and we didn't have a resolution
Okay.
prepared.
Okay. That's why I was confused. So
Yes.
sorry.
And
Yeah, I was
Um,
confused as well. I do apologize.
I'd like to add when George Biggs was the assessor, we did this with success, and it's something that it's not brand new. I mean, we've done it in the past, so.
Okay. This was the question that I had for you, Mr. Van Vleck.
Yes, ma'am.
And I've got to get to because I don't have all my. So on, let's see where it is. Page 36 of our ordinance. It says, let me get to it. I got to get there
I gotta get to it,
because
too.
I have a question on that. I know, I'm sorry, y'all. Why I like paper copies, because I have to scroll.
Which ordinance?
Yeah, which ordinance?
Our personnel ordinance.
Actually have that.
I gotta find page, okay, here we go. So on page 36, on item 5, it says overtime is, okay, so overtime shall be kept, it has A and B. A just tells you that it's 1.5 hours, tells you the compensation. B, overtime shall be kept to a minimum and authorized only under special circumstances. Employees working overtime without proper authorization or subject. Okay, the working of any overtime can only be authorized by the department head or elected official. So if he's requesting this, why is he having to come to us? If it says in our thing that employees working overtime can only be authorized by department heads or elected officials. So what is it that we need to do?
Madam Chair, what you need to do is authorize a budget adjustment resolution to actually move that money from the 499 fund to the
but this
general
is-
fund for his personnel or salaries.
Okay, but this is his money, correct? This is money that he already has set aside to do whatever.
Well, for a specific limited purpose, yes, ma'am. But,
Okay,
you know, it's still the county's money,
right.
and you need to basically do a budget adjustment resolution to reauthorize that, repurpose that money, in other words.
Okay, what else do you use that money for?
We use it for vehicles. We use it for fuel. During our commissioner report, we go through all that, what is being used for.
Okay,
At the
so
moment, I don't have
I guess my question is,
what's that?
so if you move this and you do move them, how much ever it is you're wanting to move, are you wanting to take all of your, whatever you have in that account that you're wanting to use this out of, will you still have adequate
Yes.
monies to do the day-to-day stuff that you need to do?
Yes. We have a lot of money in our 1% fund. A lot of it is in T-bills right now. It's being invested. But I did check with the treasurer's office before I came here, and they said we have the 19,000 plus a lot, quite a bit more that we can put in there. So
Is there any reason why we shouldn't?
Madam Chair, I mean, I'm not sure about the financial healthiness of that particular fund. I mean, I think you would obviously want to make sure that there are sufficient residual funds after this change to address any other issues that might come up in the next year with respect to the reappraisal process. But if the assessor's told you that he thinks there's adequate funding in there, the adequate funding to use fund future needs, then I see no reason why you should not agree with that.
Okay.
Madam Chair, that was my question, Steven, is this going to short you in the future?
no, sir.
That you think you'll be adequately covered for whatever might arise for that money?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve. I'm sorry.
Madam Chair,
can't-
Commissioner Parker, the next step would be to actually draft a resolution and put that on the agenda for the next commission meeting. It'll be in the form of a budget adjustment resolution.
I would like to see that happen.
And you can certainly direct us to do that, and we'll make that happen.
Yeah.
And if you have any more questions before that, you can come and ask us. We can
Okay.
feel free to come and ask us.
Is anybody against us having her draft a resolution to vote on, or you good with that? I said, are you good with her drafting a resolution for us to vote on?
I thought we was gonna do that
Okay.
today.
You good?
Yeah, but
Okay.
It was 19,000, is that correct, Madam Chair?
That's correct. 19,000.
Mr. Assessor, 19?
we moved money from that fund before, so it's not.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next is clerks, Miss Park.
Good morning. I just have a couple of dates to tell you about. First off, for the new ones, if you and Vicki, if you haven't already closed your campaign finance account, your CFIS report is due today. If you have and you finalize that, then that can be your last one. Tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning, coffee with the legislatures at the Yam Theater. Thursday, there is an NMLR training, and that is to get your legislative reports. If you don't already know how that works, it's just an easy thing. But the training is Thursday afternoon. On Friday is the chamber banquet,
What time?
1:00 Thursday for NMLR training, and it's online. I got the link if you need it.
Oh, it's online?
NMLR training.
New Mexico Legislative Reports Training.
Oh.
And you can get a list of the legislative priorities that are important to you. You can I just do elections and county issues, and my report comes kind of customized to what's important to me so that I can stay on top of what I need to stay on top of. Today had some water issues, some public safety, Renewable Energy Tax Act, and extreme risk fire protection order changes. Those kind of things that we need to be paying attention to. Friday is chamber banquet and Friday evening at the Campus Union Ballroom. And then the conference in Santa Fe starts on the 20th,
That's what time Friday?
Friday evening, 5:30.
So we have a courthouse. Not only should we be on the second floor, but we'll do a tour on Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Down on
Isn't
the
that-
calendar, I don't know.
That is Friday. Yeah, that, for that, what's it called?
Yeah, the,
Renovation.
The renovation, but it's the new computers that,
where they're,
They're smart courtroom.
they're smart courtroom. That's what I was trying to think of. Couldn't think of that.
That happens Friday about 10, is that right?
I'd have to go in and check. I've kind of let that one.
For
Not on the
whatever reason,
agenda.
I've got it on my calendar.
And then the legislative conference starts in Santa Fe on the 21st. If you're taking EDGE classes, those start on the 20th. And then goes through Thursday, the 23rd. And then there is a other thing that Mr. Carter asked you guys to attend on that Thursday evening. Then Monday, February 10th in Santa Fe is an additional Chamber of Commerce, Curry, Roosevelt County Chamber event for our legislative banquet.
Mhm.
The 23rd, that morning, is that when they have the awards
Yes.
deal
Yeah.
that morning? And then,
At lunch
you're right.
is the graduation for EDGE,
Yes.
RAP, Flame Awards.
And then that night will be that other deal.
And that one is not connected to the conference.
Do you have us or April booked for the thing on the, what is it, in February, the
February
chamber
10th,
banquet?
chamber banquet.
Actually, that's one of the things I have for y'all to sit down and so we can get that.
I do want, I am going.
That's why I want to
go.
be able to make sure we've got everybody. I've put it out to y'all. I've sent it to y'all, but I haven't heard anything. So I do have it on part of my manager list to make sure that we get that taken care of while it's at the 125 rate.
Okay, I am going.
And who all,
Y'all going chamber banquet?
I'm not sure yet.
February 10th, right?
February 10th,
February
which is a
10th,
Monday night.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, can I get a printout of those dates? And all of that?
Yeah.
No,
Everything that
they're
you
on
just
17
mentioned?
different calendars, but
Oh,
I can send
I
you an
thought you had
email.
them written down. I'm
I
sorry.
do.
Just that'll be
Scribbled.
fine.
I have
I
it
can get a
scribbled.
copy of my calendar.
hmm
I just send you my calendar.
Thank you.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a lot of stuff.
Okay, so just so y'all know, when we get these things, the reason that we need to figure out our schedule, and I know y'all both, well, I know you have another job, I know you don't, but you're just being stubborn, but I know you actually have a job. So anyway, we have to do this because the rates will change after a certain time. So we have a
Right.
cheaper rate now and then it goes way up.
And if
Or
we're
they
gonna,
get booked up.
and if we're going to have a quorum of commissioners, we have to put out a public notice, even though we're not doing county business. So we have to publish when there's going to be more than 3 of you.
Okay.
At an event.
So we do need that notice out anyways. Is that it for you?
That, I believe, is it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If you want to come do the NMLR training in my office, we can do that Thursday at 1.
You'd be up.
Detention, Miss Ramsey.
Hello.
Warden Ramsey.
Good morning. So this morning our facility count was at 44, and I wanted to reiterate, having a low population is not a terrible thing. Yesterday we were at 50. A couple days ago we were at 60. So it's just courts, things like that, people transferring out, courts releasing people on bonds, OR bonds, people bonding out, those things. So those are constant things we have to deal with every day. So we have 12 females and we have 32 males. For our out-of-county our out-of-county detainees are at 9. Our billing for Quay County was $13,125 for December, and Cannon was $1,500. In our MAT program, we have 9. We have 9 in group counseling, 9 in individual counseling. We have none on our waiting list. We have 4 to be interviewed and 1 to enter the program, but depending on his behavior. We have 5 on medication and 1 person that's on medication that is not in the program. GED, we have 2, 3 next week. We're interviewing for that to make sure that this person's going to be there and not sentenced yet, so they can have the classes, all of those things. We have 9 in yoga. Right now we're teaching regular curriculum for the MAT program, which is like recovery-based classes, things like that. Cameras in the new classroom are up, and we are already utilizing that area. We got our body scanner on the 17th, and we're waiting on training later this week, hopefully. I wanted to invite you guys, if you guys wanted to come and see the body scanner, check it out, and maybe even train on it, mess with it, play with it, whatever you guys want to do. Right now, we're fully staffed, so that's a huge, huge thing for us. We had 4 graduate in the academy. We have 5 left in our academy. We have 2 that are going to graduate next week. Arrested for December, PPD arrested 58 people. RCSO arrested 31. State 5, ENME 1. Probation brought in 2. Curry brought us 2. Quay County brought us 6. DOC had 5 transports to us, and we had 112 total arrested last month. Transported to DOC by RCDC was 6. We're waiting on a transport out for some females. Released for December was 72 detainees. Arrested for the year 2024 was 1,041 people. Released for the year 2024 was 817, and this does not include people going to other counties or DOC releases. That's just people that we've released back out into the public, okay? Days in custody for arrested for PPD was at 600, for 602 people for the year, was 8,632 days at the cost of $1,329,020. That concludes my report. I just wanted to kind of throw some annual numbers in there for you guys. We have a new JMS we're working on to get these reports just automatically generated, but I had to do some digging because we just changed JMS systems. So I stand for any questions.
What's a JMS?
JMS is a jail management system. That's what we book people in on and release people in.
Good job, Sheila.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Roads, Mr. Dominguez.
Morning. Okay, so our Caliche crew finished up the LGRF projects for 2024, which was about 13 miles altogether. We were waiting for some clearances and we'll be able to start the projects for LGRF 2025. So then we got to start thinking about LGRF 2026, because now in March we got to send in those applications. So y'all might want to start thinking of some road y'all might want to get done. We do have our 5-year road plan that we're trying to follow, but we could still, add a few in or whatever we need to do. So just want to throw that out there. And then the crew is currently working on 4 miles of capital outlay north on North AP, west of Melrose. The blade routes, I got 1 on State Line, 1 on O and 10, 1 on 10 and AP, 1 on 34 and 206, 1 on 37 and Z.5, 1 on 33 and M, and 1 north of Toller. We still have areas that are in pretty bad shape from those rains we had, so we just keep finding them. And then a couple of the guys went out, take care of the cattle guard that we called in, or that got called in, and our distributor and our chip box are in, the new ones. So, and they're really nice, so thank y'all for that. That's all I got.
I want to say thank you. I checked out after you got through with AP the other day.
Okay.
That mile and a half,
Yes, sir.
really, really nice.
They come out pretty good. Yes, sir. So we'll continue another 4 going north and then, so.
What is the agreement on the county line with Curry?
I think,
They have known for sure.
yeah, I think years back, they traded that county line for county line over here on 3 off of 70. So yeah, they take care of that one and we take care of that one. I think that was but that happened way back, so.
I know that years before I ever.
Yes, sir.
One,
Yes, sir.
that one notice I sent you yesterday,
Mhm.
about right there, it's right west of Dora, that 1 mile. It's bad.
Pretty bad. Okay.
I hit it.
All
I
right.
came up on it yesterday. They're gonna go help pin some yearlings, and anyway, I come up there and hit that darn thing. It's pretty good.
Okay. Soon,
It's about that deep and about that wide.
man. Yes, sir. Okay.
It's,
Yeah.
it was a good one. And I had no idea.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that Jeff Hayes, he kept it a secret.
Madam Chair, I have a question. Do you have the blades on a schedule right now? Or are they all working on the LGRF projects?
No, we just got one Caliche crew going. So all the other ones are going on the routes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is it out there? CDEF
Mhm.
in front of Golden's old place. I went down that yesterday. It's rough.
E.
It's bad. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that one was Caliche, but it started falling apart. As soon as I get a blade in that area, I plan on hauling some Caliche in them holes and stuff and filling it back up.
That whole piece right off that hard ball going down 8.
Mhm.
And then when you go around to G, woof, it's way bad.
Bad. Okay. You got it. All righty. Man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks, Wad.
I forgot to do my restricted housing. For the second quarter, we are still at 0 for restricted housing. Thanks.
Now turn the heater up. Thank you. Thank you, Juan. Okay, moving on to manager, Miss Kirk.
Okay, so first, some of the things, dates and whatnot, I was going to give you. Mandy's got that covered, so
I should have
We'll
talked
just-
to you about that. We didn't have a meeting this time.
so it'll be good. Glad she got those covered. One of the things that I did want to bring to everybody's, I just thought about when talking about the fairgrounds is that the way it's been set up to schedule anything out at the fairgrounds is we cannot schedule anything at this time, anything longer than 6 months. So, I mean, we don't have anything past a year. Yeah, that's why it's been set up. So whatever we need to do, we'll have to make some changes, but that's going to take a little bit of work as well for us to get those extra calendars in if we're going to try scheduling anything out for longer than a year or two, because we have them, to hold those dates and they have to bring all that in. Don't have a problem with it, but just so you know, in the past, it's always been set for no longer than 6 months before an event. Okay. Just want y'all to know that.
But we can get that changed and work. If somebody wants to schedule one a year out, we can.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is kind of first really that we're touching in on some of this. And I mean, I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but, yes, it'll be great to work on the equipment side of it. We've all had some discussions on this anyway, but the calendar part should be the easy part. It's just,
Sure.
it's just making sure everybody knows where to look. And when we schedule, right now we do have it plastered up on the wall so everybody can see it right away. But if we're looking at bigger, functions that are going to require us to have those dates in place a year ahead, yeah, we definitely need to start looking at something.
When I was up there, we had a 3-year capacity. We had a separate email account with its own Outlook calendar for fairgrounds.
Yeah, I don't know. Everything I've been told since I've been there with all the information I have is 6 months. So just so you know, that's the information I've had.
Okay.
So with that, also want to tell you that our first quarter, and I'll have to get a resolution wrote up as well, but our first quarter was approved through DFA. So, y'all had asked about that. And we finally got the approval and everything just the other day. And I wanted y'all to know that we do have that.
Perfect.
There were no audit opinions or anything else that was attached regarding our first quarter. So hope that makes y'all feel that much better. Did get an email on the FY23 County Audit and Accountability Award that Roosevelt County made the list and will be honored on January 23rd at the luncheon. So maybe somebody will be there to receive the award. Okay. And then, of course, I was just going to get with everybody and see, and y'all have already made that decision who is all going to attend the February 10th. So, and then if y'all want to tell me later if we have to make who needs reservations or anything else.
Yeah, I do.
I do for that night.
Yep, I need them for that night.
This is February what?
10th.
You're going.
Mama says I'm going, so I guess I'm going.
That's what I'm talking about right there.
And Fabian will get back with me on that.
I'll get back to you today on it.
Okay. And I do have April putting stuff together for your, so some sort of a packet for the conference. So that way y'all know what's happening, where you're staying, what's all the ins and outs of all of that information. Okay.
Yep, I know what you're doing.
Like confirmation numbers for motels.
Are you afraid you're not
Oh,
going to
no.
have a confirmation? You're good. Yes.
I've gotten up there one time. Anyway, one time. But
But that way you can also see that we've got the dates that you are expecting, or if we have to make modifications.
and in that, can you get the ICIPs
We do.
in the packet? In that packet, we can take with us?
Everything we're turning into the legislators. Okay.
Do you want a notebook? Is that what would be more helpful?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that.
Is that it? Are you still going?
To which?
I know on your stuff.
Oh.
You got more?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Anybody have anything for Ms. Cart? Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Commissioners. I have one, so I'll start. I got a constituent call on the dog situation. Is there anything that y'all can think of that we can do to partner with Portales, Clovis, something on the stray dogs and things that we have in the county? I know several people have had issues with dogs out there, and these in particular are out there by the golf course. And so there's too many houses around for, to, yeah, well, anyway. So I know that if they're aggressive, you can shoot the dog. If they're aggressive, some say you can, some say you can't, whatever. But there are a lot of houses, and these people have chosen not to take that route because they would not want to shoot when there's people around or anything else, or to scare the dogs off. But they do have goats and things out there that these dogs are chasing. They've called the sheriff's department. They don't have anywhere to take them. They've called the pound. The pound won't take them because they're county. So, and I've had several of these, over the past, but it seems like I'm getting more. I don't know if people are just throwing their dogs away. And I wish people would realize when they get puppies and stuff for Christmas, the puppy's going to grow up. It's a commitment, not just take it while it's cute and then just throw it out on the road. But anyways, we have a dog issue, and I didn't know if there's anything we could do.
I believe we have a county resolution still in place regarding free roaming dogs.
But but I don't, we
I'll
don't
have
have
to
anywhere
pull it
put
up
them.
and look at it. Yeah, we
Don't believe there's anywhere to put them, and I think it's only ones that are aggressive or something like that, isn't it? Isn't that what our dog pound resolution, the agreement that we have with it's something on their aggressive, or they're going to be euthanized, or yeah.
I can't remember what it was.
I can't either. But if there's something,
Pull up the resolution
Mhm.
and see what we have in the past done. I don't know.
and see if there's something we can do.
When did the city stop taking county animals again?
Long time
A
ago.
long time ago, over the whole pound thing. When we had
they're
all
probably
that.
full anyway.
Yeah,
When they moved out of the,
but I know they get they go into agreements with like the smaller communities and things. I've talked to them before, and you can go into one, but they're always full. It seems like anyways. And I don't know if we have anywhere close by that's a shelter that can take dogs in to foster them out, or I just don't know. I don't know what the options are around here, but if we couldn't check into seeing if we can't find some different options or something to try to mitigate some of the stray dogs. I don't know. Anyway,
I thought animal services was part of the negotiation that y'all negotiated over a year
dog
and a half
pound
ago or
was
so
not
ago.
included. The dog pound was not included in all that. And it is, and we just kept that out of it. But I would also like to welcome the two new commissioners.
Thank you.
Congratulations, welcome.
Thank you.
Hope you have as much fun as we do.
Maybe even more.
Yeah. And anyways, thank you guys again for electing me as your chair, and I'll go to the next person. Paul, do you have anything?
No, ma'am.
Commissioner Criswell?
I do. Welcome to the
Thank you.
commission, to the new commissioners. And then Tina shared an email with me, was it last week,
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
that our efforts in slowing down the expansion of the wildlife refuge were met with, I guess, with greatness, because we put a stop to it. It is no longer on in the spotlight, and so I just want to thank everybody for their efforts for that. But that's all I have.
Glad
Hoping
you
for a
did
great new
everything.
year. Glad you're here, Paul.
I'm glad I'm here too.
Commissioner Parker?
Yeah, I just want to let everybody know that I spoke to Andy Reed, Martin Zamora, and Pat Boone about that coffee and pastry tomorrow deal at 10 o'clock, I think, or it ends at 10 o'clock. And they were willing to sit and meet with us for a few minutes if y'all wanted to. I wanted to go over the ICIP with them then and there instead of trying to mug them in Santa Fe when they're in and out of session. So just want to make sure you're all aware of that if you can be there. I think it'd be a good idea to try to get our point across to them of what we need help with.
It's always better. I've always found in the past years is if you can talk to them one-on-one before Santa Fe, because yeah, you can go in there and drink a cup of coffee with them, you know, but they've got a tight schedule,
Yes.
and it's not all about what we want at that time, but they'll put it down.
Yep.
And if they can help us, they will generally.
I agree with you 100%. I called it the mug a legislature. You know, I've tried to do that in the past, and you can see it go in one ear and out the other because they've got so many other things on their mind. So anyways, I thought it'd be good, the more of us that were there to talk to them about our ICIP, the better off the more of an impact it would make as well. So I just want to let everybody know they have agreed to meet with us after that's over with. And the last thing I have is just to let everybody on here know I'm honored to be here. I look forward to working with you all. And I know we're not going to agree on everything, but I think we've got an excellent panel set up here, and I'm proud to be here.
I just want to thank everybody for helping me in the process of transitioning to a commissioner, because obviously this isn't my line of work, but I just want to thank everybody for that. Thank you.
And Mr. Bedfleck, is there going to be any problem? I know that thing tomorrow, so we've already put out that there's going to be a quorum, right?
Public notice on it.
I think I just did the December. I have the one ready to go for January. I didn't get that one.
Because we're going to have
I
one
know.
tomorrow.
I've
so
got a bunch
we've got
of
to
them I
do.
need to put out for all of January.
Yeah, I'm just saying I would just as soon have it. And so I just wanted to make sure we had all that done and we had made notice that.
And I apologize. I completely spaced talking to you about that. So,
Well, we were going to be there anyway.
yeah, I know, but I should probably let our county manager know these things too.
She comes in handy sometimes.
Sometimes.
Okay. If that's everything, we will move on to, is everybody okay? Anybody need a break? Anything good?
I'm good.
Okay. Item 9, old business. Commissioner's Annual Report of Detention Center Inspection on December 17th, 2024. And we went out there and you are doing a bang-up job out there. Great job. It was nice. It was clean. You don't hear the riffraff out there. It's all good. You're doing a great job. And, you know, I've spoken with a lot of your employees and stuff, and they all seem to be very happy there. You've got good morale, all of that. I know a lot of those duties got turned over to you, and you've been doing a lot of the stuff that you haven't done in the past, and you've started doing now. I know we have a new manager that's transitioning in, and it's been, 5 months now? Good job. So I know that during that process of changing over, a lot of stuff got shifted to you, and you've done an excellent job. I mean, it looks very nice out there. Everybody's happy, and I just want to commend you on a great job. You and your staff are doing amazing. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else? Matt?
I didn't go.
Okay.
I'm not sure I wanted to leave. No.
I've been going in and out of that jail for a lot of years, and I've never seen it so mellow and clean and nice. So great job.
Thank you.
No, it's not what I expected out of a jail. I mean, I've never been in there, but when I did go in there, it was nice and clean. So thank you.
very much.
We don't need you to go in. That's one of those places.
It's really bad publicity.
Yeah.
Real quick, Mandy did verify that at 10 a.m. Friday is when the smart courtroom tour.
Okay. Thank you.
I will not be there. Yeah. Or will I? No, I
You
probably
don't
won't
want
be
to go
there.
in the courtroom or the detention center?
Well, I got jury duty for like 116 days, so I'm sure I'll get enough for that room.
Okay.
That is the district courts. They're going to discuss their legislative priorities as well, because they are asking for additional money for the Curry County Courthouse and that kind of thing. Their courtroom is the best, biggest, first smart courtroom in the state, and Judge Maurer is very proud of it.
Okay. Okay.
Pass me those Kleenexes.
Moving on. Item 10. A. The commission may take action on any items listed. Request for approval to add both chair and vice chair as authorized signatory officials for bank accounts with JP Stone Community Bank with authorization to sign checks or orders for the payment of money, withdraw or transfer funds on deposits with financial institution if financial institution accepts this power with multiple signature limitations. Domestic government unit agrees to waive a multiple signature requirement for any withdraw in format that does not allow financial institution in an opportunity to examine signatures and number of signatures required. 2, Ms. Ramos, but we're already there.
Yeah, good morning. Well, since there was no change, there's no action needed, so.
Okay.
We ought to approve it either way. I'm sorry? You don't think we ought to approve it?
Yeah, we can. So I will entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second.
Yes. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
motion carries. Thank you. B, discussion and possible action to approve 2025 Roosevelt County Committee assignments. Ms. Kirk and Commissioners, these are fun.
So on the committee assignments, I just printed out what was done last year. I will update this after you have made those Board of Directors, New Mexico Association of Counties. Of course, that has to be Tina, since that's an elected position, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so that one stays, it's not up yet. Burlington Northern, that was Dennis, so we need to find someone to, and Miss Hamilton, so we'll need to add Miss Kirk to that, I'm assuming. And a commissioner.
Are we nominating each other or just volunteering or?
You can volunteer.
Yeah.
If there's one that you would like to be on, you shout out.
I mean, unless somebody else wants to be Burlington Northern, I can do that.
Anybody else want it?
I am going to ask Malin to be on that Armed Forces Committee that Dennis was on there with me, wherever that is.
Okay.
Cannon Community Partnership.
That was Amber and Paul.
But they've changed that just to Armed Forces Support Committee, the name of that anymore, I believe.
And that's different than PMAC, though.
Yeah,
And what?
then the PMAC, that's different than the PMAC one.
Well, this is all that was listed from last year.
Yeah,
so
the Armed Forces was one that was added.
We'll get that added.
I don't know where it's at. I don't-
It's not on here.
Should be on there.
Okay, so Armed Forces, so it's Paul.
How often do they meet, Paul?
4 times a year. So
You good with
it's a
that?
quarterly thing.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, Paul and Malin on that one.
And that's on the one that's not on here.
Yeah,
correct?
it's called
Okay.
Armed Forces, something. Okay, let's see. We've got Chamber of Commerce, Board of Directors. How would you like to feel, how do you feel about being on that?
What do they do? When do they meet?
Where's
Monthly.
Victoria?
Monthly at lunch on
Monthly
the
lunch.
She must-
second Tuesday.
I don't get that one.
I'm not sure, but it's Monday or monthly and it's at lunchtime.
Once a month.
And that would be, Dennis was the alternate. Vicky is the
Okay.
named representative.
Okay, so we'll do Fabian on that one. Okay, and then on that PMAC, we need to add Ms. Kirk to that one. And then elected NMCIA pool. That is, again, Kirk. And then I'm the alternate on that. I've never been, so I can't tell you. Is there somebody that would like to have that? I've never been. I don't know what to tell you. Okay,
You just go by design, I guess?
because,
Is the county manager on that one by design?
yes,
Okay.
And-
She wasn't. It was Matt Hunton when he was an insurance person, and then it's selected.
was above
it's
her?
selected by the NMC board assigns the pool, NMCIA pool.
I'll reach out and look at it.
Yeah. Find out
Okay.
from Joy.
Okay, so I'll find out from Joy, yeah, because I have no idea. So emergency, that's Johnny. Local Growth Management Committee, that's gonna have to be Ms. Kirk on the bottom of that, and
Never had a meeting.
it's Commissioner Criswell, and we need another person on there because Dennis is not on there,
I could get on that one.
okay?
It's just an odd one because they've never met.
Like those that never meet, huh?
I do.
It's an easy one.
Okay, I sit on New Mexico, Arizona Coalition of Counties. I would like to stay on that if that one's okay with everybody.
No.
Okay. Okay, Roosevelt County Finance Board, we're all on that. So you guys will take those two places on that because we all stay on that one.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair. Did we miss the Cannon Community Partnership? Did I miss that?
That's what I was trying to tell you. I didn't know, but I thought that is changed from that to the.
No, they're two separate.
They're
Two
two
separate
separate.
committees.
PMAC is separate than,
They are two.
Yeah.
I did
I'm
just
sorry,
get-
we did. We put Miss Kirk on there and that one's also, it's got Paul on there now. Did you?
Paul, you want to stay on that? Or Roy Lee, did you want to be on that? Do y'all?
Go ahead if you want to.
Oh, no, I don't. I was just trying to figure out which one of y'all. I thought I'd heard Roy Lee express interest in it at one time as well.
I'll stay.
PMAC is not a policy committee. It's a chamber, a function of the Chamber of Commerce and engagement with the military. It's not a policy committee. You're going to stay on that one.
I've been to some of the things over Canada.
Okay. So then Roosevelt County Community Development. So that will be county manager because she stays on that. And then I'm on that one. But if either one of you would like that. I don't know about you, Fabian. It's just,
What is it?
it's Roosevelt County Community Development. We meet monthly. It's on Thursday. Actually, it'll be tomorrow at 9 a.m. Or Thursday, not tomorrow, but Thursday at 9 a.m.
They get together, try to bring in new business.
You do it once a month. If that's,
Do you want to stay on it?
it doesn't matter. I'm fine if you'd like to be on it and get into the community development or something, that's fine.
Okay.
Would you like to do that one?
No.
That's funny. I love it.
Okay, no.
That's funny.
Does either one of you want that one either? Okay.
Yeah, I'll take it if you don't want it. If you're
I
wanting
don't-
off of it, I'll.
No, I
if you
don't.
want off,
I don't care.
I'll relieve you.
It doesn't make me any difference, but if you would like to have it, I don't want to hog everything up. If you want it, you can have it. Do you want it?
Sure.
Okay. You got a meeting Thursday at
You'll
9
hog.
a.m.
Man, this week's getting full.
Community development.
Yes.
Roosevelt County.
Yeah.
See if we can't develop a little pep.
Oh, great. And the next one we'll have to add you to because the land use committee, we're all on that. And then, so the Roosevelt County Board of Ethics, that's where you pick your alternates and things, or you pick a person and an alternate that you want on the Board of Ethics. These are the ones that are on there. If you guys, the two new ones, or if y'all want to change yours or two new
Madam
ones,
Chairman, I'm curious, can we table this until after?
the Board of Ethics?
Yes,
I'll take it.
until after the agenda item.
Or do you want to just leave it alone then for now? On that one, leave your people the same?
I'm sorry?
You want to just leave your people the same on that then?
Or even ask them.
Well, it's gonna, the ethics ordinance is gonna be addressed in resolutions 11F, I
Okay.
believe. So
Okay, that's fine. Okay, and then SERPTO, we've got Juan and Daniel.
Daniel's no longer with us.
That's what I was gonna say. He's not.
If you can add Steve Benavides, just in
Okay.
case. No,
I would like y'all to know that I have sat on that board, and wow, it is a lot. Steve, how do you spell his last name?
Benavides, Benavidez.
Easy, yeah.
Okay. Okay. This one table. Okay, so with those changes, we've put Malin on Armed Forces with Paul and Mayland, because we've added that one to the top of this list. Left Tina on New Mexico counties. Burlington Northern, we added Malin and Miss Kirk. Chamber of Commerce Board, we put Fabian. We Cannon Community Partner, the PMAC, we just added Miss Kirk. NMCIA Pool Board, we'll have to just let them do that, so we'll just table that one as well. And then Emergency Preparedness, we've left it at Johnny Montiel. Local Growth Committee, we've left Roy Lee, added Fabian and Miss Kirk. Left me on New Mexico Arizona Coalition. Fabian and Malin were added to the Roosevelt County Finance Board, along with Commissioner Criswell, Dixon, and Greider. Community Development, we changed Dixon to Commissioner Criswell and added Kirk in Ms. Hamilton's place. Roosevelt County Land Use Committee is all 5 commissioners. We've just changed Fabian and Malin. Roosevelt County Board of Ethics, we've tabled that one. SERPTO, we've taken Daniel out and added Steve Benavides. I think that's everything. So with that, I will make a motion to approve it.
Second.
Okay?
Yes.
Motion second.
yes.
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 Motion carries. That went well. Okay, moving on to item 10C, discussion of changing commission times. Annette Kirk and commissioners.
There'd been lots of discussion the last few meetings regarding whether or not this was going to continue with what y'all had done in the past, or at least that it was going to be brought up again. So it's on here for discussion, so we can get that situated for our future meetings.
Yes, because we did put it on last year. We did it in January and said we would do it for 1 full year, and it was to come back in January. So it is on. I like the night meetings. I don't know how y'all feel.
Madam Chair, can I make a motion to change all meetings to afternoon meetings?
To afternoon or to evening?
To evening, sorry.
Okay. Okay, you can
I
make. a motion.
personally would prefer they stay as is, one daytime and one nighttime. Just, I feel like that the daytime meeting would involve the employees more, as opposed to trying to drag them back out. And I also like the idea of catering to the public's needs and making sure that the public can attend at least one meeting a month too, without having to take time off of work.
I like the idea of the nighttime meetings because I think we've had better turnout with the evening meetings. Department heads and such are all the ones that, that have to do their presentation. A lot of them could submit their stuff, but I like both. I like them in the evening myself.
Well, you know what I like. Just like the morning meetings, but historically we've seen really no increase in our audience that people's come. We might have one person show up extra. I mean, this morning we had more this morning than we normally have. Especially at night, they don't come. And what it does do is our treasurers assessors and clerk, they have to show up after work, basically. I know they is elected to that position, but after it's all said and done, they have to show up, or somebody has to show up for them, like Mandy does, above and beyond what her job is called for.
And I agree with that, but I also think that as a commissioner, to have a job in the day, like I know we have one commissioner that has a regular job, and I think for somebody to run for the commission, it's really hard when you have to take off a day off of work. And I just think we would have more people run and more people fill these spots, and just, teachers and different things like that could actually do it. So anyway, that's just my spiel. What do you got? Anything to say?
It don't matter to me. I've liked what we've done. I sure like what we've started on the evening meetings. That way, it will involve the community itself too. So, I kind of like the way we are right now.
Okay, well, we have a motion on the table to move them both tonight, and I will second that motion, and we can vote on that and then see where we go from there.
And the
Madam-
motion is what?
To move both of them to the night. The motion was made by Fabian to move both meetings to the night.
Madam Chair, I'd like to, if it's possible, ask the other electeds what would be their preference as well.
Go ahead.
What do you think, Javier?
What's that?
Meeting times?
Well, honestly, me being selfish, and I'll be quite honest, it's my youngest daughter's senior year in high school. She's cheering, and a lot of the times they're in the evenings. So, selfishly, I would want to say, I would like to keep them at least one in the day, one at night. I do like the day shift ones, or, the morning ones. It's easier on the employees that, have to come to the meeting. I know most of everybody that comes is either appointed or elected that come to the commission meetings, and kind of goes with the territory. But I would really like to see either the way it is now or both of them during the mornings.
Steven?
I'm probably the most flexible person here. So I have dogs at home. That's it. So either way, it's fine for me. I like the morning and the mix.
Thank you.
And I'm okay either way as well. But if we move to both meetings and we stay on this first and third Tuesday, we are going to directly conflict with the city of Portales city council meeting every month. And we do have just several people that go try to attend both.
Victoria?
I'm actually okay with like we have it now, one in the morning and one in the evening. So it's fine if it stays like that with me.
What do you got over there?
Oh, I'm not appointed or elected. I'm a salary employee, and I think how we have it set where it's both right now works really well. It gives the employees or elected a chance to report. Like Shayla comes here, she's not appointed or elected, and she does a lot of reporting as well during her working hours. And so I think it would be beneficial for the employees to at least have that one monthly meeting in the morning where it's in their working hours, rather than asking them to attend both meetings outside of their regular scheduled hours.
And the reason I asked you is because you run the video.
I do also run this.
And when we approve something, resolution or ordinance or whatever that has to be recorded, it has to be done during normal business hours. So if it's an evening meeting, it happens the next day.
With the city deal being brought up, they're changing their schedule to ours.
They already have.
So, right, they changed their schedule to ours. So we're not changing to be with them, they changed to be with us. So I was just wanting to make that, and I was hoping that they would leave theirs the same way as it was, just so that we could, as needed, get to a meeting of theirs. But they chose to move their scheduling the same time as ours this past meeting, and so I was kind of disappointed at that, on their move at that deal, because like I say, we've already scheduled our date, but they changed theirs to be on top of us. So.
Okay. If we're finished with discussion, we will call for a vote. Fabian, how do you vote?
I vote for
We already have it on the table. What the vote is whether you want both meetings at night. It's either yes or no on the night, both moving tonight.
yes.
Okay.
No.
Yes.
No.
No.
Motion fails. So do we have a motion to do anything else?
I make a motion to leave the meetings as is per the recommendations of the other electeds, and so that we can have the community. So one in the morning and one in the evening. I'll make a motion for that.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion and a second. Mr. Greider, how do you vote?
Yes.
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 Motion carries. Thank you. We got through that. Okay, this item, what is it? 10D, discussion and consideration of contract with TKM LLC for professional services to assist the county with all financial services for FY25. Mr. Ortiz, Mr. Trujillo, and Ms. Kirk.
So I didn't invite them to come because they'll be coming in later if you approve this.
Okay.
But the contract is in your hands.
Mhm.
What they'll be doing is they will be acting as CFO until we fill the position. Once we fill the position, they will be aiding and training for that position. That way we can also get that person all the training, all the certifications they need, which is CPO. So that way they understand exactly what we're doing, how we're doing it. They will also aid in doing audit prep work. It's all outlined in the contract. It does not necessarily mean that we will spend that much money on their services, but they plan, the idea is they will be coming in and they will be doing an assessment of how we're already doing things, and then how they can come in and help us to make sure we're getting everything done, cleaned up, fixed, and then training the people that we have to do the things that we need done.
And isn't this something we already discussed? We already discussed all this before, about this services?
No, we've only talked about it in my office. I've reached out to them before Christmas.
Okay.
And you're still actively trying to find.
We are. We actually have interviews set up this week to see what we could do, see if we can find an individual. Regardless, the people that we have listed to interview right now do not have government. Any kind. So they're going to require somebody to do the training. In the meantime, just like right now, Q2 reports are needing to be done. They will do our Q2 reports for us in LGBMS. They will also help make sure our bars are all taken care of. We get our bar resolutions in, we get all of our bars in, everything, our finance back online, exactly where it needs to be. Because when we're bringing people in and training them, one, you're going to have to train them in code. That's going to take some time. Then you're going to have to train them in the processes and procedures. We're still going to have some things that we're going to have to keep disconnected because Carla holds the CPO. So therefore, she's the one that enters the purchase orders and understands exactly what requirements are needed for us to get if we have to go out for additional quotes or bids, or depending on amounts and what the item is. So until that person learns those things, Carla's going to be doing those things. And these people are going to make sure that they are overseeing that it is being taken care of properly as well. So they're going to help with the budget process as well. They'll be coming to the budget meetings, helping me build the budgets, and we'll be having all of those discussions with them and in front of them.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
My question is, has this already been in the budget? Is this something that we're going to have to dig into the budget for? And how long do you expect for this process to take?
So right now, this contract is only until the end of June. Okay. I did look into the budget. We do have some money sitting in professional services that would be available. The other thing is we would also be able to borrow some of the money out of salaries that we haven't utilized in paying for that position. Even when we get one hired, we've spent almost a half a year now without a person in that position that was originally salaried to with benefits for over 92.5. This contract is for 59.
Not to exceed 59, correct?
Not to exceed, yeah, it's not going to exceed 59.
When you said through June, is that the actual time, or are you hoping the process is finished before June? Is it going to go all the way to June, or are you just covering yourself to have the process complete by
It's
June?
to have it covered.
Okay.
Okay. A lot's going to depend on you find the person, you hire the person, and then what their ability with everything else is. We don't want to sit there and run them, once we get that person in place, it's a lot. A lot of changes, a lot of procedures, a lot of making sure everything you're doing because everybody's watching. You don't want to scare them off with all of that. And that's not even touching the stuff that we're having to do reporting to the state. And so therefore, that's why I highly recommend that we go in this direction. They'll also help us prepare for our audit for next year.
Well, I know I'm not, I haven't been comfortable and wasn't comfortable at the last meeting and everything without some kind of finance person in there. So if we could have somebody that knows government that we could turn to until we have that position filled, and at this rate, it's less expensive than, yeah. So I guess with that, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Discussion of item E, discussion of insurance premiums and deductible amounts for 2025.
So again, I wanted to just, I'm new to this. And so I just wanted y'all to all see what was been given to us at this point. So you can see kind of where the contributions are. We are sending a letter out to also go out for, we're going to check other avenues as well to see if this is the most affordable or if we're going to be able to go with the different.
And we just went basically with what we did before?
Correct.
Okay.
That's what has been done in prior year.
Okay. With that, I will entertain a motion. Okay, I will move to approve. Do we need, it's not just, we don't need a motion, right? Do we not need approval on this? It's just discussion?
Really?
Okay.
I
Okay.
think it's just discussion
Okay.
since we had to already.
Just discussion and seeing what we can find out by farming it out, right?
Okay, yeah.
Sure don't need to take action.
Yeah, no action probably until we make a decision if we go with a different company.
Y'all opposed to taking a 5-minute break?
No.
Nope.
Okay, we are going to recess for 5 minutes.
All right.
I've got something else I need to get done.
Is Johnny still here?
Oh, you're so.
I don't know if he's out in the hall or not.
he is.
The way they left it, the first one from the.
Yes.
So what buildings have that are flood?
Hey.
How are you?
It is plenty of-
Are those buildings located in special items?
Is everybody else's going?
I think we're.
Wonder if you.
Randall, you have a good trip down?
They did. Yeah, tall. Long, but it's pleasant.